So a couple of things. I want to start by talking about the pay-per-view event, Jake Paul, the polarizing semi-boxer, certainly working hard at being one, was going to finally fight a real fighter, Tommy Fury. Now, Tyson Fury is a two-time heavyweight champ from Great Britain. Tommy Fury is more a model who can box a little. And so let me give you a story years and years and years ago. They opened up a casino in Vegas called the Paris, right? And it was a replica of the Eiffel Tower. And so I had a friend who's like, hey, let's go to, I saw it as we flew in, but he said, let's go so you can see this replica of the Eiffel Tower, and they've got a good restaurant inside. And I was like, all right, fine. And we went, and I saw it, and I was impressed, by the effort. But once you saw the replica of the Eiffel Tower, there was really no reason to see the replica of the Eiffel Tower for a second time, okay? And that's sort of how I feel with Jake Paul, is that I thought the story was really fun. And as he was knocking out football players and washed up UFC guys or MMA guys, that was fun. I wanted to see him fight a real fighter. And I did. And it wasn't a great real fighter. It was Tommy Fury, who I'd seen 2 pieces of videotape of him fighting earlier, and he was mostly awful. And he completely controlled the fight. He was more refined, more polished. He actually had a jab. It was highly effective. He was confident. He really controlled the fight. I had 2 rounds going to Jake Paul, and one of them, the final round, because he briefly knocked down Tommy Fury for about half a second. Nobody ever really got hurt in the fight. But Tommy Fury's not athletic enough or dynamic enough to be a great fighter. His brother, right, is the 2-time champ. Tommy's just a pedestrian athlete, good-looking kid, great body, but doesn't have the power or the athleticism to be a great fighter. But he controlled the fight. And, there's a lot of really talented people out there. And they have a 2 handicap. They're not close to playing on the tour. They can go out with their buddies, shoot 1 under par, 2 under par. They're not close to being on the tour. Jake Paul is a big, strong, tough kid, hard worker, made a name for himself. I do think it is interesting when he fights recently retired football players or washed up mixed martial art guys. That's fun. Can he, we watched an NFL player for years. A tough guy retires, goes and fights Jake Paul. That's interesting to me. But watching him face boxers, it's like going to the Paris casino. All right, I saw it. It's kind of fake, and I'm done with it. And so, totally supported Jake Paul, thought he would win the fight. And instead, the real boxer who'd fought real fighters was more refined, really kind of did whatever he wanted to. He landed significantly more punches than Jake Paul did. Jake Paul, remember the baseball player Adam Dunn? If Adam Dunn was a boxer, he would be Jake Paul. Would not hit for average, swing for the fences, and occasionally land. That's sort of Jake Paul. Combinations were not great. There's no real jab of note. Kind of outclassed. But I love the effort. If he keeps fighting, that's fine. But, I'm done buying his fights. Unless he fights a really, really popular all-pro level NFL guy that retires. That would be interesting, maybe. Second thought. So, so much of the NBA now is three-point shooting. And I watched, as I was flying home from Florida, I watched the Mavericks jump out to a huge lead on the Lakers, mostly because the Lakers couldn't hit threes, and the Mavericks did in the first half. 27-point lead for Dallas. Lakers came back to win. Jared Vanderbilt was excellent. But I did say when the Lakers went out and got Jared Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, I said, this is going to be a team that's going to get into the play-in tournament in the end and probably make the playoffs, bottom rung, Western Conference playoffs. And I still believe that. But in this game with this comeback, the most notable story was LeBron James got hurt again. And after the game, there's video of him limping off. I think Rob Pelinka and the Lakers deserve a lot of credit for assembling very quickly a better shooting team with more versatility on defense, more size and length. They deserve a ton of credit. And it's a great example of how one player can ruin chemistry. Just getting rid of the toxicity with Russell Westbrook, the ball moves much better. I think they move much better on the defensive end. They're longer. Westbrook no longer plays defense, won't set a pick, can't shoot, blah, blah, blah. We've gone on and on. But just getting him off the floor, and the team plays a better brand, a more watchable brand of basketball, especially late in quarters, late on the shot clock, late in the game. They played pretty well. Sometimes Westbrook just got in the way, as athletic as he is. But I think when I watch the Lakers for all the positives, when LeBron hobbles out of the arena, it is the reality. They're going to have to move Anthony Davis. And I know he's still on his best nights. He's really good. He hit the most crucial shot in that Laker comeback win over Dallas. But, even on the great nights, 27-point deficit, come from behind W on the road, even on the great nights, LeBron, and this is just what he's become, limping out of the arena. So 2 things can be true. Rob Pelinka, the GM, deserves a ton of credit for creating a viable, fun-to-watch basketball team. And they're still going to have to make a move as soon as the season ends. You cross your fingers that Anthony Davis remains physically viable because he's a top 6-7 player in the league when he's healthy. But there's limitations here. I mean, what's the old, Einstein, the definition of insanity is you keep doing something over and over again, and it fails. LeBron limping, this is what they are.